Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Scooby Doo review. I'm your host, Zerk, though you probably know me better as Zerk Monster Hunter 4 on YouTube. With me is my co-host, Pen. Say hello, Pen.
Trade offer. Mhm.
Today, our trade offer is that you receive a podcast as we receive pain. Because today, we're going to be talking about 3 more episodes from the season 1 of the Scooby Doo show back in the 1970s. So, without any further ado, let's begin by summarizing the story of our first episode for this evening.
All right. So we start off with the Harum-Scarum Sanitarium, which starts off with I think it's just Dr. Coffin like standing on a rock outcropping at Niagara Falls looking like a weirdo.
Yeah, he's just like some weird guy. I don't know how he got there because getting up on top of Horseshoe Falls is like ridiculously hard. Like,
Yeah, you would think so.
place is locked off to hell.
I
Like,
mean, of course. So the gang is driving along a Canadian road because apparently they're just in Canada for the tourist season. Now, viewers, this is one of the few times Canada actually gets mentioned in any Scooby Doo thing whatsoever. It's all America and Italy and like Greece
and
and,
Spain.
and Spain. It's always Spain.
So, as Canadians, we of course get a Mountie that the gang meets, Officer Oldfield, who
Mhm.
explains to the gang that the road is closed because people have been smuggling things over the border. There's a joke here, but it's not particularly a sensitive one, so I'm not going to make it. Anyways, the gang is told that this border road is sort of not used and they need to take a specific route. Otherwise, they shouldn't go to a different route because that takes them by the sanitarium where the ghost of the Mad Dr. Coffin is sort of shuffling about.
Yes. So as they're driving along on this road, the sign that tells them where to go is struck by lightning and turns around to lead them towards the Harum-Scarum Sanitarium, which
Because
is
of course
okay.
it is.
This place's name is Shady Sanitarium. That is its name. Whoever made this, John Shady, why did you for yourself? there's, there's one of those ranch like gateways with the
Yeah.
hanging sign, and it's just Shady Sanitarium. And man, that sure does make me want to trust a sanitarium.
Yeah, that is the most on the nose location name in Scooby Doo I've seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, the gang pulls up to the sanitarium doors, and they get immediately beset by 2 Rottweilers, who then cease their attack of the gang once an organ is heard. And it's at this point that, as the Rottweilers go back inside, we are introduced to one of the side characters in this episode, a strange Canadian goblin man doctor by the
Yeah.
name of Dr. Tewksbury,
Mm-hmm.
who speaks like this.
Yes. No,
Mhm.
that's just Skeletor. What am I doing?
That is just Skeletor.
Yes, He-Man. Yes. Um.
I will get these meddling kids.
So he is very creepy and tells the story of Dr. Coffin in a very ominous sense.
Yeah. Apparently, the Mad Doctor was using his patients to experiment on the nature of the brain. Very, very sort of one flew over the cuckoo's nest sort of energy there.
Yeah.
But,
And doing that, all of the patients have run away, meaning that the guards for this sanitarium are not very good.
yeah. So, apparently, Dr. Coffin's ghost has come back, and Dr. Tewksbury thinks that the ambulance working for the sanitarium keeps bringing him patients, but they keep disappearing, and he believes that the ghost is taking them and doing things to them, I guess. But anyways, the gang are put up in the sanitarium for the evening, and we get some good Scooby Doo creeping around,
Yep.
like just some good classic Scooby Doo. I will add, this is the first episode of this season, that brings back the original "Where Are You" compositions for the background tracks, actually. And they're seen throughout the rest of the season, which is, of course, very nice. But it's good hearing it here for the first time, because as good as the 10,000 Volt Ghost episode was, man, hearing that in it would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, there's some creeping around. Fred, Scooby, and Shaggy stumble onto a mirror, like a mirror forge or whatever. Like,
it's a Sun Forge, I believe.
yeah, or whatever. That they trigger with the moon, and it lights Scooby's ass on fire.
Yeah. Then he runs over to a bucket.
Yeah. We get some shenanigans with Dr. Coffin, and the gang starts to look for clues in the sanitarium over the night. And naturally, we get some chases, we get some gags, we get some goofs and some gaffs. And eventually, the plot sort of reveals itself when Fred, Velma, and Daphne stumble into the morgue for the patients. And Fred, not fearing dead, just peels off the sheets from one of the gurneys, revealing that the bodies aren't bodies, but actually stacks of gold bars.
Oh, yes. And boy, do we have some fun math for you later.
Yeah. So this is the first we see of the gold bars. And oh lordy. Oh lordy.
Oh boy, it's great.
They the gang realizes that it's probably not an actual mad doctor. But Scooby and Shaggy, being Scooby and Shaggy, hide on two empty gurneys and get mistakenly grabbed instead of bodies with gold on them.
And they go in the ambulance.
Yeah. So
the gang follows close up behind in the mystery machine. Fred turning his headlights off in the middle of a torrential downpour with lightning. So basically, he can't see anything at night. Follows the hearse along, or the ambulance, which eventually opens up a secret door in a cliff.
In Niagara Falls.
Who
built this shit?
I don't know. Civil engineer, that same Egypt guy, he's still doing it. Never stopped, really.
Maybe it was Ebenezer Crab's secret lair.
Jimmy Crab. We also did miss a few things, being that Scoob gets hypnotized by an organ, causing both him and those Rottweilers that appeared at the beginning to dance, once again demonstrating that they've completely lost all of their hypnosis resistance.
Which is very unfortunate, because that actually gave Scooby and Shaggy a great leg up against many hypnosis users in our previous bracket of What's New.
Absolutely, and I'm all, right now it's a 10,000 volt ghost dominated like the entire bracket. We haven't found one yet that can stop him.
Yeah,
it's a walking nuclear dynamo. And then, so they follow this ambulance into this secret cave in Niagara Falls. They park. Of course, they don't notice the mystery machine following them. Nah, why would they? They're just fine. They get out, and they see that there is a flippin' what was it, Zach? Was it like 6x10 stack gold bars?
It was 5 deep and I think 12 high.
Yeah. So we have some fun math for you viewers.
Yeah. We brought out the calculations for this.
We brought out the calculations. Now, we counted every single gold bar that was seen in this episode, which I believe came to 800 bars of gold.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
If all of those bars are 5 kilograms, that equals 4,000 kilograms of gold.
Yeah, and we came up with the 5 kilogram number because in one shot we see that the gold bars are about as long as Fred's forearm. So we think that's about 5 kilograms, just judging by the size.
That's about 5 kilograms. Now, in today's money, this is a ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. This is a flipping insane amount of money.
Yeah. We're talking about a tenth of the gold in Fort Knox.
Absolutely. This is equal to about 281 million Canadian dollars, which, considering that this episode is set in Canada, we're calculating in Canadian money because the robbers are Canadian.
Yeah, they're from Montreal.
They're from Montreal.
Friggin' French Canadians, man.
So
Crazy people.
this giant pile of gold bars. The Dr. Coffin has been wrapping these gold bars in a bread machine to make them seem like they're loaves of bread, and has been shipping them across the border through a minecart system. This man has stolen nearly $250 million. Actually, over $250 million worth of gold. He will never need money again.
No.
Why don't you take away the minecart bit? Because I know that's your forte.
I love minecart sections, and we get a minecart section in this episode. Now, granted, it's not as good as the minecart section in Chill Out Scooby Doo, but that one holds a special place in my heart personally. But we do get a nice little minecart section in this episode, where Scooby and Shaggy get chased by the doctor and the ambulance workers. And eventually, it works out that the minecart loop ends up with the doctor and the ambulance workers bonking into the gold machine and getting wrapped up in a bunch of bread wrappers and unmasked to reveal that Officer Oldfield, the Mountie who tried to get the gang away from the road where people were smuggling things off the border, was actually one of the guys smuggling things across the border.
Absolutely.
And I wrote down here in the notes, when Oldfield and the other two guys are arrested, Oldfield had a brown trench coat at the opening, and the Mountie at the end has a red trench coat. So brown Mountie, fake Mountie, red Mountie, real Mountie. So now you American viewers know that's how you know if you come to Canada.
You ever see a brown Mountie, you just run.
Yeah.
Just run.
Yeah.
There's also this one really weird bit when they're unmasking him and explaining what the whole plan was, where Scooby's got this apple and there's this worm on it, and they just focus on that for like 30 whole seconds, and it's really weird. It's just really weird because it doesn't add anything. It's just there at the end, and he has this.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like supposed to be visual sort of noise to like keep the kids engaged while the gang is doing the bust. But as an adult watching Scooby Doo, my priorities are very different. I want to hear how the villains did it. And this is, again, why I love Mystery Inc., because Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. Solves this problem by having those sepia tone sort of behind-the-scenes looks to show how the villain did it. And more Scooby-Doo series need to do that when they do the bust. I think that should become a staple of a series going forward.
I agree. Because it's easy to make those visually interesting. Because, I mean, they could be doing whatever. Now, there isn't any power scaling people in this one because Dr. Coffin doesn't actually do anything. He's just a guy who runs around going, yeah. But other than that, we have one ominous scale. And I know, what do we give this one?
And interestingly, the gang actually doesn't commit any crimes this episode.
No, they don't. No. What do we give this one, Zach?
Not even a legal border crossing. I really actually liked this episode personally. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
So did I. So,
and then our best gag for the episode, my favorite gag was Scooby lighting his ass on fire via the moon laser.
And I liked the closet gag where, honestly, it's just because it made me chuckle like a little bit, because Shaggy walks out of a closet dressed as a doctor, checks Dr. Coffin, and then says, wow, you really need to go to a doctor.
Yeah, that one is that's a good sort of dress up gag, which you don't really get much of.
Oh boy, and now we get to the real meat of this episode.
Yes, the no-face zombie chase, or as I referred to it in the notes, shuffling this shuffle.
Actually, the no-faced zombie chase case. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get the pun right. These episode titles just get progressively worse.
Oh, they really do. I can't wait for the ghost of the bad humor, man.
Society.
Not a good episode. It really isn't.
Anyways, Pen, how about you take it away with how this this absolute chaos of an episode starts off for
If
us.
I remember correctly, the no-faced zombie man is being weird and creepy and walking down a street
Walking
when
down Park Avenue.
walking down Park Avenue when he gets next to a coin shop, just ripping the door right off of its hinges and tearing the glass off of a display case with a weird medallion inside of it. Meanwhile, nearby, in the nearby pizza shop that is not manned by Pizza Sal, and there's no pizza manipulation, Scoob and Shag are trying to eat a ridiculously sized comedy sandwich, which is longer than the establishment that they are currently inhabiting. So Shag says that Daphne says that you can't start eating the sandwich from the middle because it'll just fall apart. So Shaggy eats one end of it, causing the other end of it to go through a window. So Scooby goes around outside of the establishment of eating and chomps down right as the no-faced zombie kicks the door down next to him and goes, this causes Scooby to jump right back through the window.
I will add that the no-face zombie, in the span of about the first 2 minutes of this episode, takes two very high-security doors of a jewelry shop straight off their hinges.
Oh, absolutely. He's on the power scale for real.
This man, the no-face zombie, if he punched you in the chest, would probably break all your ribs and likely collapse your lungs.
I wouldn't doubt that. I think he would just break you.
He would just break you. So anyways, the gang doesn't believe Scooby at first, and they pay at the sandwich shop and are on their way home. They're going somewhere. The gang's always going somewhere.
Oh, we forgot about the police officer.
Yes. Actually, yeah, before the gang goes home, they go and see that the coin shop's broken into. So how about you take that away, Penny?
Yes, so the coin shop owner is like, oh, it's the cursed medallion of the Golden Galleon.
Hey, that rhymed.
I think that is actually what it is called, the cursed medallion of the Golden Galleon. And he says cursed because the Spanish conquistador zombie roams the earth looking for his cursed medallion. The police officer, which is one of the few times you actually get a police officer character in Scooby Doo.
Yeah, usually the sheriff just shows up at the end.
Yeah, and he doesn't talk or anything. He's just like, I'm a police officer. You did it. Good job.
Yeah, he's just there to ask the gang how they figured it out, basically.
Yeah. But this police officer is very skeptical of the coin shop owner's claims and is like, well, even when Scooby comes over with his testimony that he saw a no-faced zombie, the police officer is very skeptical and tells the kids to go home.
Yeah, he's like, who's going to believe a talking dog? It's so weird having a rational adult character in Scooby Doo. It's strange, to say the least, I would say.
It very much is.
So this is when the gang goes home, and they're stopped at a red light, and a hearse pulls up next to them. And driving the hearse is the no-face zombie who growls at the gang and then drag races them when the light turns green.
Yep. So the no-faced zombie is very, very good at driving as he drifts a hearse slightly to change up the gang chasing him to him chasing the gang. Now
he's better than Vin Diesel.
He is better than Vin Diesel. Now, as they go through this, eventually they are led to the Dilly Dally Toy Company. No, the Dilly Dally Dolly Company. Oh man, all of these puns are so bad.
So bad.
So he just drives straight in, closes the door, and and then the gang are left. They knock on the door. The night watchman comes to the door. He's a really big, stocky fellow, the kind of fellow that
could maybe rip a door off his hinges.
You know, that's what you're thinking, right? And he basically says, "No, there's no fucking zombie here. Go away. I'm trying to, watch my teeth. Fuck off."
Yeah, basically. The gang, this is one of the few episodes where the people around the gang like act like how humans would act in a Scooby Doo scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird. But yeah, so the night watchman says to the gang, basically screw off. So the gang goes to the shed outside the loading zone, and they steal a forklift.
No one in this episode has their forklift certification.
Very clearly, nobody in this episode has their damn forklift certification.
This is against OSHA. They're going to get fined.
Yeah, yeah. And the gang used the forklift to commit a B&E.
Yeah, basically. I think Scooby gets like launched in there because they make a makeshift catapult and then Daphne falls down. But eventually, yes, that is how they get into the building.
And we get some interesting shenanigans here because the gang starts to prowl around the toy factory looking for the zombie. And it's at this point I feel I should mention the zombie's walk cycle.
Oh, it's very good.
It's wonderful.
I need to find a way to make a gif of it because it's a fantastic little walk cycle. God, it's hilarious because he just shuffles. He just shuffles.
He just shuffles this shuffle.
Then a gorilla shows up.
Yeah. Then a gorilla shows up. There's stuff that happens in between, but I feel like monkey is more important.
We're just giving you the highlights, viewers.
Yeah. So at some point they get chased around by the no-face zombie, and we get the no-faces zombies shuffle animation sped up, and it's the best thing ever. And immediately once they escape the shuffling but fast, they try to get into the elevator, but the elevator is occupied by gorilla.
Yeah. They also do find Mr. Dilly and Mr. Dally and the Night Watchman, who are all in the factory. Mr. Dilly and Mr. Dally being the owners of the place, and they say, "Shut up, kids! There's no zombie in this building." And then they go look for him, and then of course they get tied up in the back room somewhere. Yeah.
So.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say. So yeah, it's again interesting that adults try to do things in a Scooby Doo episode, and it works out terribly for them.
Oh yeah, but, none of them really get out of this well.
Once the gorilla shows up, this episode basically devolves into complete and utter shenanigans.
Yep. There's just a lot of sort of chasing back and forth in different scenarios because everyone's trying to get the medallion, the little medallion box. Eventually, what does Velma do? She calls the cops?
Yeah, and the gang are held up in a room, and then the no-face zombie is on one door, and somehow either he teleports or there's two of them, goes into the other door, and just steals the thing out of Daphne's hand.
Yep. No, it's a really stupid scene because Velma and Fred are both holding this door closed, and then just right behind Daphne, a door opens, just yoinks it, and then leaves.
He just leaves.
Eventually, Fred manages to actually drive a forklift out of the room, incapacitating Monkey.
Yeah.
Scooby falls down into a flipping cloning machine.
Yeah, and we get 101 Scoobies.
So these are robot duplicates
of Scooby.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 dozen of these things.
So they've earlier on in the episode, they found a magazine that 3 pieces of it have been ripped out. So they decide that they have to go to a magazine stand somewhere in the city to go find out what those 3 pages of the magazine were.
Yeah.
So they got to get out of this toy factory.
Yeah. So Scooby and Shaggy go do that whilst the rest of the gang remains looking for the no-face zombie so that they can show it to the lieutenant when the cop shows up. And Scooby and Shaggy run into the monkey at the freaking newspaper stand.
They do run into that monkey, and then directly after that, the monkey somehow has a car and just drives up right next to them.
Yep. And they hitchhike onto the car, and then they get in, and just there's this, for a moment, there's this shot of the monkey leaning over the back seat like this, and Scooby and Shaggy just sitting there, and it's perfect. It's perfect. I love it so much.
This episode is really good, but it's absolute chaos. It's completely nuts. Like I'm trying to describe the plot to you, but it's really hard.
It's just really hard. If there are a couple episodes worth watching in this season, which I think there are, 10,000 Volt Ghost, the Dr. Coffin episode, and then just absolutely this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please watch this one. It's good.
As the monkey, okay, how did they get back?
Okay, so Scooby and Shaggy run back to the factory because of course they do, because they have super speed. The monkey clearly drives back to the factory, obviously, in the car. Fred, Velma, and Daphne never left, and then also the cop shows up. So all of our parties have converged back on the factory again. And we get a hallway gag to cap off this glorious mess. Which... the hallway gag ends with Fred using the forklift to ram the no-face zombie, revealing that the no-face zombie was actually just a robot this entire time, and he's just the fucking Terminator.
He's going to be quite high on the old power scaling list.
So then, with the no-face zombie destroyed, the lieutenant picks up the coin, only for the monkey to swing down, just grab the coin out of his hand.
Now, of course, they eventually do catch the monkey. As he's trying to drive away, Shag and Scoob drive a forklift and manage to yank it up. So because the hearse is only rear wheel drive only, they can't stop him.
They can stop him, yeah, because they lift up the back end of the hearse, so that it's just spinning its wheels as the monkey jumps in. And then the lieutenant arrests the monkey. They pull off the mask, and it's
either
the
Mr.
monkey. It was one of the factory owners.
It was Dilly or Dally. I can't remember which one it was.
One of the two. But
and then directly after that, Velma gives exposition that this is part of, the Golden Galleon, and the what was his flipping name? It was something of Swahili.
Some freaking
the Sultan of Swahili.
Yeah, some freaking African king was offering $1 million.
I mean, it was 1976.
Yeah.
That would be a ridiculous amount. And we cap this episode off with sort of a pan across a cafeteria of all the robotic Scoobs eating.
Yeah, because Scooby and Shaggy got free meals at the employee cafeteria at the factory for helping solve the mystery. But the cafeteria is out of food because all the Scooby clones ate it.
Which is a concerning reality.
This episode is a lot to take in.
Yep. There's a lot to take in, but I really, really like this episode. I gave it an 8.5.
The exact word I used to describe this was nuts.
Yeah.
And I gave it a 7.5.
So that rounds us up to 8 flat.
Yeah.
Now comes the bad one.
But before we move on to the bad one, I will say we were in agreement, however, that the best thing about this episode is the freaking shuffle of the no-face zombie.
100%. 100%.
So good. And now we get to the bad one.
The bad one. I don't want to talk about the bad one. It's just boring.
Yeah. This episode commits the cardinal sin of just kind of being lame and boring.
So we open with a hippie rock band, jamming out. And then they say that we're going to do a tribal chant or something, a voodoo chant. So they do that. So then Mamba Wamba comes out and he just like poofs on the stage.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
like a
he's like,
T-posing witch doctor.
and then he's like, "Ha! You summoned me, idiot. It's time to zap away the female member of your band." And so he does, and they don't explain that. She just explodes into a puff of smoke.
Yeah, they
Mamba
just
Wamba, Mamba Wamba is a real wizard, and he only uses his power to try and get song rights. That
Yeah.
is the.
Aw.
You would think that. Oh, Kitty, my cat has come. I should have locked the door. Kitty.
Hello, cat.
Oh God, this is going to screw up everything.
No, it's fine. We need some positivity since we're about to talk about Mamba Wamba.
Okay, so Mamba Wamba is a fucking wizard, right? And the band says that they found this fucking tribal chant in some weird plantation, right?
Yeah.
So they take the gang with them to this plantation where they found the song, and well, they find a dang voodoo zombie.
Yep. It's literally a reused asset from that one like iconic zombie that you know from Where Are You?
Yep,
Just
absolutely.
straight up.
Straight up is. It's that one famous zombie who goes, woo, woo.
Yeah, with the lantern.
Yeah. They just do some shenanigans, and it's not good shenanigans like the other episode. It's just bad shenanigans.
Yeah.
They managed to put the zombie in a dress at a certain point.
Like Mamba Wamba shows up a couple times. We get one moment where Daphne pretends to know Kung Fu, which is and
I miss Action Girl Daphne.
I miss Action Girl Daphne from What's New as well. That was like my favorite Daphne. They should do Action Girl Daphne again.
I love Action Girl Daphne. Fucking Roger, their manager, leaves because he sees that there's like a voodoo doll of him, so he just leaves and then gets
and then
caught.
they find his fedora floating in the swamp.
The zombie's really dumb. Fred knocks down bricks by just kind of punching it.
Yeah.
They fucking find the weird mud huts in the middle of wherever the hell they are in America. Like fucking Georgia, Florida, wherever the hell plantations were. Fucking mud huts. Who is building these things? And Mamba Wamba is conducting a ritual because he's kidnapped all the rest of the band members throughout the episode. And I'm really sorry, viewers. It's really hard to fucking.
Yeah.
Ugh,
do you want me to take it from here?
Take it, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, anyways, Mamba Wamba's kidnapped all the members of Roger's band. He's turned Lila, who's the female member who got kidnapped in the opening salvo, into a zombie, and she's looking kind of goth, about as goth as 1970s can get. But just the episode's lame, so I can't even get excited about that. But anyways, she's like a zombie. And Mamba Wamba's like threatening the band that unless they sign a piece of parchment, they will be cursed forever. Which the second that they're supposed to sign a parchment, you know exactly what the twist is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the band is going to sign the rights to like their name or their song.
It was literally that weird tribal chant. That's because of fucking
weird shit charted in the 70s. Honestly, it's not the most unbelievable thing, but just it's like, not the most unbelievable motivation, I should say.
No, that's not a super, because the female Lila, she was like, the moment people heard this, they knew this tribal chant thing was gonna like pop off. It was gonna be a great song, so they wanted to sign away the song rights. But I am not sure that contract can be legally binding because you're fucking making them sign it under duress.
Yeah, and false pretenses as well.
And false pretenses, because like Layla's even saying, I didn't sign, so I was turned into a zombie.
Yeah.
You should sign the funny parchment that says you can never play the song again.
Yeah, and Mamba Wamba's the band manager, by the way. Like, if you didn't put that together.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's at this point the episode sort of switches gears because Scooby and Shaggy are the ones witnessing the gang being forced to sign this contract under duress.
Yeah.
And in the chase immediate with the pink zombie immediately prior to this, Scooby and Shaggy picked up a frog.
Yeah.
And the frog jumps and grabs the parchment.
For no reason.
And the remainder of this episode just becomes a wild goose chase chasing this frog with the paper until Scooby and Shaggy eventually get the frog and the paper, and Fred sets one of his ridiculous traps, which actually works, surprisingly, more often than it's not. Fred's traps have a higher they have a higher rate of success in this show compared to other incarnations of Scooby Doo.
If you
higher rate of success.
You give Fred enough time, cave, some paper clips, and maybe a spring. Oh, he'll build you a flippin' claymore, man.
Fred could probably topple a tyrannical government if given enough resources.
Enough resources and time.
Yeah. But anyways, so Fred traps them, and yeah, of course it's revealed that Lila was in on it, and it was a conspiracy between her, the manager, and their roadie, I think, was playing the zombie.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or it's just some goon they hired, or I don't know. But either way, it was a conspiracy between Lila and the manager to get the sole rights to the song so that they would get all the money, I guess, from it. And they go to jail. Lila stops being a member of the band, and then the episode ends with them cooking gumbo, and the frog eats all the gumbo, and Shaggy threatens to turn the frog into frog legs.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the episode.
It's a bad episode.
It's a bad episode.
I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 5.
5.5.
Oh, well. I gave it that half point mostly because, and of course, gentlemen, if you know me, I noted that this is an episode that takes place that has to do with weird spirituality, and it involves a made-up band. Because Roger's band, as far as I'm aware, does not exist. Like Roger and his band are just characters they just made up. So if you make this episode about 25-ish years later, and you need to tell a story about a band writing a song, and they accidentally write a cursed lyric into their song that summons an ancient demon. I think there's and you need a Scooby Doo original band. I think there's a specific set of characters that I think you can rewrite a version of this plot with and make something way better.
I tend to agree, yeah.
Yeah, if only because of who it would involve.
The Hex Girls.
Yeah, it would involve the Hex Girls. I'd make it. I'd take the bones of this plot and I'd turn it into a Hex Girls guest star episode, because you could absolutely do that.
Oh, you could really do that. Then you'd have like a cool Hex Girls. Like, why don't they just use them more? God dang it!
God, use them more. Give them their own show. Warner Brothers. I will write that show. I will work as showrunner. Please, please. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever you want. If you want me to write a freaking episode of like something stupid firsthand just to like see, like, I'll do it. Like, just please let me do a Hex Girls show. It'd be great.
We'll see. We will see. All right.
I gotta get my portfolio done and a couple writing credits to my though, of course. But
all right.
You know.
Don't worry about it.
I'll get there.
Okay, so
call me.
Is that it? I think that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could rant about the Hex Girls show I would make if you want, but
no,
that would extend the episode another 45 minutes.
We'll keep that for later. I think we'll have that for some special. It'll be fine.
Fine.
Anyway, so I think that is the end of our episode. We've gone through the 3 episodes that have been slated for us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll go for the scorecard. If you enjoy our podcast and would like to contact us, you can follow us on Twitter at do_review or email us email us at the scoobydooreview@gmail.com. For today's and that's the episode, everybody. Oh, wait, I forgot the scorecard. So we still only have 2 appearances of Scooby Dumb, and we add 1 to the petty crime counter for a total of 5.
We are 9 episodes in, by the way, so more than half of these episodes involve the gang committing some level of petty crime.
Yeah. And that's the episode, everybody. Thanks for listening. And remember, we wouldn't have a podcast without these meddling kids and their dumb dog. Come back next time for a really wacky one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.